Guys, we had a question up front here.
Hello. James Gardner, actually, CineTechGeek. I actually do a blog on cinema technology, and this year I'm covering high dynamic range in a big way, and I've recorded most of the stuff that was done at the Future of Cinema. I've done one with Bram and a few other guys and other places, so you might want to catch it. I'll get a card from me at the end. But I wanted to put something forward. I did a little while ago a video called High Dynamic Range, the elephant in the room, and that's the fact that cinema and television are like totally different types of HDR.
Yes,
right? Of course. And the sort of question I wanted to put forward to the guys up at the front here is that we're talking about television at the moment, but when we, a lot of the premium content comes from cinema, so a HDR version of that sort of content is likely to be in your life, in your workflows as well. So my question to you is considering that, the monitors that we have, they can do thousands, etc. Wanting to do a grade for cinema, usually you wanted to do it on a cinema projector because of the emotional impact of a screen over a emissions display. There's all these issues. Can you comment on where you're leading and how you're approaching this new problem of this extra grade? What screens you're going to do it on? Do you have to do it on a Dolby cinema projector if you want to do that grade? What's the path?
Yes, can I just reiterate the question a little bit, right? So it's an awesome question. So I think this is a real issue that I've been thinking a lot about too, right? Because you go from the black box theater environment, right? Where like 14, 15 foot Lamberts was kind of like, the standard before, right? And now we're going to what in the theater for HDR? 30, 40, something like that?
By the way, shame on you for using foot Lamberts.
119.
What's that?
Shame on you for using foot Lamberts.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Old school. So yeah, I think that's a really valid question because one of the things I think that gets confusing about this is that everybody's talking 800,000 nits, whatever, but we're all kind of talking in the context of direct view displays, TVs, etc. And Katie, I mean, obviously you do a lot of this, translation work between, films and trim passes. And what I got to thinking about this was that, like, where you might be able to, in the past, take a cinema grade and kind of just do a quick trim pass to the Blu-ray or whatever and get it done. This is almost like starting from scratch, right?
We're doing more trim passes than before, but because now that we're in this, so we're in this like middle stage. I mean, now, like in normal feature films, we do, luckily we don't have to do SD deliverables anymore, right? So we were, for a long time, we were doing the theatrical, the HD and the SD, right? And those are all at some level you need to trim, sometimes you just throw that on and let it go, right? Now, then for ages, we only had to do two versions, which was theatrical and HD. Now we've got HDR. So we're back to having three versions. But we've always done trim passes to various extents. Now for HDR, you have to do a wee bit more of a trim than you did before because you can't just throw like a transfer light on it and roll with it because you do have to consider slightly different things. Like you're going to be turning down the specular highlights a lot for HDR. So one thing that we do at Light that is a little bit controversial, and we talk to other colorists and they're like, why do you do it that way? And you know what I was talking about with how we grade because HDR is forwards compatible and we grade for what people are looking at primarily as like that's the way that is the standard, right? So I know that our deliverable is HDR, but our deliverable is also SDR, and frankly, 99% of the people who watch the TV show that comes out this week are going to watch it in 709. So our primary creative session with it is in 709. And we are doing HDR shows. Our primary session is in 709, and we do trims for HDR. And I know people smack us over the head for that, but it is.
Yeah, it kind of seemed like the opposite, right? It would kind of seem like you'd want to start with.
No, because people think that you look at like resolution and you downscale.
Right.
But it's not a downscaling. It's different.
One thing I think would be worth adding, and I haven't had to deal with this because the work that I've had for clients has been HDR specific. It was experimental in nature, so I got to just do what I want.
Right, so if most people are watching in HDR, then do it in HDR first.
Right. But one of the things that I consistently, I've read this in the Dolby documentation, I don't know if it's publicly available, but I mean, this you've mentioned externally, and it's in the manual, so it's too late anyway. But I've read it in other places that, again, the point, as you said, of HDR is not returning it up to 11. The point is HDR is dynamic range, so you get sparkles that have separation from the rest of the image. So various manufacturers have been kind of expressing that the majority of your grade, your midtones and your shadows, are going to be the same way
more or less
grade them in 709.
Actually, yeah, like skin tone is normally, like, if you're shooting like a white person,
70 or something.
it's 70 or 80, right? Well, in HDR, it's still 70 or 80.